Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania for MLU Live. Don Boyle, Dusty Rhodes alongside the Philadelphia Spinners entertaining the New York Rumble. Interesting matchup. Rumble looking for their first win while the Spinners come in equal at 1 win and 1 loss. Beautiful temperatures, about 73 degrees. When the sun sets, could drop to about, 48 or so. Not much wind, Dusty. As you take a look at the records, these two teams, how's this all come together?
Well, one of the most exciting things that we're having this season is that we're seeing a little bit better performance from both Philadelphia and New York. And at this point, we're going to get to see a matchup between these two teams who have dealt with both the DC Current as well as the Whitecaps, who have been historically two of the better teams in the league. And now we can kind of sort out what else is going on in the conference this far.
Of course, Philadelphia 4-6 a year ago. They have made few changes to their lineup, and it looks like the New York Rumble have revamped just about everything on the field. So we'll have to see how that works out. They were just 2-8 a year ago. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the keys of the game, some of the featured players, and more right here on MLU Live.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about, as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's luau night. Come celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs, and one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
You are just one of a kind, my dear. Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
Well, on this beautiful night, it's time to take a look at some of the key players in tonight's matchup. We'll start with the visitors, the Rumble. That's David Vukovic, who we'll take a look at. He had a terrific year ago as a team MVP, and they will really need him this year with a very young team.
Well, and not only that, today they're missing a decent number of players, so he's going to have to play not only on offense, but he's going to have to play on defense. And what that does for an offensive player is it changes his mindset going into the game. He can't be quite as composed because he has to sort of ramp up his aggression once he's out on the defensive line. So that may wear him down over the course of the day.
Be interesting to see how it all works out. Last year he combined for 26 points on goals and assists, also had 6 blocks, so he can get it done with a defensive mindset also. Now you take a look at Philadelphia. Billy Sickles, kind of a new name to me. Did he come out of the front office or something like that?
He does indeed work in the office, and that's the first time I met him. He was wearing, office clothes, office gear. He was doing real business, and now he's out here doing real business on the field. He's not just someone who's filling in on the offense right now. He's playing a major role as one of their offensive cutters, and while they'll be missing a couple of their key cutters, we expect him to be able to step up and shoulder that weight.
Yeah, they mentioned an excellent compliment to Jake Rainwater. Rainwater not playing today. What does that mean to Philadelphia's offense and defensive side of things? Because it all comes together sooner or later.
One of the biggest things with Rainwater is whenever the Philadelphia offense gets into trouble, he can get open late in the stall count. He can get open when he's fronted. He can get open when he's covered by an athletic defender. It really doesn't make a difference. He just gets the disc from the handlers and then continues the team's possession.
All right, the Rumble, key to the game. They're looking for their first win. What do they need to do?
Well, the first thing they need to do is, you see the second note here, is that they need to work on their catches and throws. Their basic execution on offense was suspect last week. They were making a lot of big plays on defense, but then they were unable to convert the offensive points. The other thing that happens with them is that they get down early in games, and then they sort of mentally check out. Whether you make an error early in the game or late in the game, you still have to be able to play as hard as you can and believe that you're going to win. So it's a matter of mental belief on their part.
Obviously need to be physical today. Endurance could certainly come into play. Now you take a look at Philadelphia coming in with a record at 1-1. It should be interesting coming off a loss last week.
And it wasn't just a loss, because right now the Whitecaps are sitting down at 1-2, and we expect them to sort of shoot up the standings as the season goes on. And if the Spinners lose this game, they're going to be down 1-2 and tied with Boston at that point. As you can see, the drought conditions here, Jake Rainwater won't be playing, and as we mentioned earlier, we're not sure if we're going to see one player step up in his absence or if Philadelphia's offense is going to have a different look to it on the whole. Maybe they'll use a little more width of the field as opposed to relying on a primary cutter.
Obviously, last year's game's very close between these two teams, so should be a good one right here in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. It's the New York Rumble and the Philadelphia Spinners. We'll pause back with more after this. All right, time now to take a look at the starters. First for the visitors, the Rumble. Of course, you look at their offense, and Chris Mazur comes to mind. He is so terrific. He'll need a big game once again today.
And as usual, he is often up to the task. But if you rely on one player too much, the opposing defense can sort of key in on him, make his life miserable on the field.
Also another guy to take a look at, Robbie Gillis, number 44. He can go get it, so he'll be stalwart offensively today for the Rumble. Now, defensively, a name that comes to mind, Joe Anderson. He is always around the dish.
And the thing with him is he uses his height well to match up on opposing teams' handlers. So he takes the quick steps that someone like Nick Hiranet will take from Philadelphia, and will take one step to his two and get his arms out in the way. And then once there's a turn, it's very difficult for a small player to cover someone like that when he heads into the end zone.
Marquise Brownlee back in the lineup, did not play last week for New York, so that's a big addition. As we take a look at Philadelphia's starting lineup, one of my good buddies, I've known him now, I believe it, 4 years, Nick Hiranet, kind of the engine that makes it all go offensively.
What he does from behind the disc is he just maintains possession. He's always calm. He's never rushed. And if his team gives the disc away, he's one of the best defenders in the game as well. Despite the fact that occasionally he'll be matched up on a tough player, he doesn't give anything away for free.
And Trey Katzenbach will never retire. He's out there again here in 2015.
He's given full faith and credit on every play, too.
Patrick Lindsay, number 31 on the defensive side, one of the better players here in the MLU.
Patrick's a great player in the air. Sometimes he gets stuck playing underneath. He's not as good covering underneath players as someone like Anderson is, but Lindsay can make a play in the air. Last year we saw him make a grab where his headband was coming down over his eyes as he made the catch.
I think he did that because he was also auditioning for a circus run. So there you go. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more right here on MLU Live.
You are just one of a kind, my dear. Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
All right here in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania at Colonial Stadium, the home of the Philadelphia Spinners, on a beautiful night. Game time temperature at about 73 degrees, taking on the New York Rumble. Rumble looking for their first win, 0-1 in the East, while the Spinners sit at 1-1. Dusty Rhodes, Don Boyle alongside for the call of this one. And some of your thoughts as you put together your pre-game notes.
Well, one of the most important things for Philadelphia is going to be to maintain their consistency on offense. In the first week when they took down the Whitecaps, they were almost perfect on offense. Last week when they went down to D.C., they were pressured by a defense that was just aggressive from the jump, and the conditions were such that they couldn't avoid a couple just execution errors. For the Rumble, again, they need to come out of the gate strong, and even if they don't, believe that it's not going to continue that way for the rest of it. They need to get out of the basement in the Eastern Conference early as opposed to waiting until later.
Well, I hope you enjoy this game right here on MLU Live. Just want to mention a couple of our important sponsors. How about Innova? is they're proud to support Major League Ultimate and its incredible athletes, and they are incredible. And I tell you what, if it's your first time watching Ultimate, you're going to enjoy it, and I think you'll be a fan from the get-go. As the official disc of the MLU, Innova Pulsar has quickly become the disc of choice at Ultimate's highest level. Visit innovadisc.com to find a dealer near you. Now, if you can throw a disc, you might need some gloves to get it all done. Friction gloves. Wear the same Ultimate gloves as the pros. Friction gloves help you throw and catch in all conditions. To find more, just go to frictiongloves.com to get a pair. So there you go, Friction gloves. I've never won a pair as the catch of the week.
I haven't managed to make catches that way myself.
Well, both teams kind of going through their little ceremony prior to the first pull here to get it underway. As you take a look at the Rumble, they'll be in those green tops, kind of a new-looking jersey top. Last year's uniform, I think they were kind of difficult to read the numbers, if I remember correctly. And you take a look at the Philadelphia Spinners down below. So, you know, as you handicapped this matchup, and you mentioned a couple of the key points here, Dusty, you know, do you have a favorite in this game?
Yeah, if I had to pick a team that was going to come out and have a victory here, you got to give it to the home team. They've had a little more success so far this season. Their offense is a little more clarified than it has been in the past, and they really want to get ahead in this league early.
So we're just about set to get it going. The opening pull will travel from right to left. The Spinners will have their offense out first, and the Rumble will send it on downfield to get it going here. So looking forward to it. Sean Murray, one of their pullers. And the first pull, and we're underway. Philadelphia moving from left to right. It will take a second for us, I'll tell you that, from our vantage point to read these numbers with that beaming sunlight.
Philadelphia's getting some good aggressive deep cuts right now. They're not taking them early, but that's probably best for their continuation of their offense through the game.
Just trying to feel things out right now. Rumble look like they're going very tight defensively. They want to be more physical today. Let's see if that pays off in any way.
Yeah, and if they can get a quick block here early, that'll set them up for success throughout the game here.
They create the first game. Well, no. Yeah, they do create the first turnover on the far side. Now, they'll get their chance offensively.
And the key is that they need to not even waste too much energy on offense here. They need to be calm, move the disc up the field, and not have a second defensive possession here.
Get an infraction, free yards for the Rumble, looking for the first score. They got their D out on the field. Can they cash in? One thing to create those turnovers. It's another to cash in on those turnovers. There's a low catch, beautifully done by Mazer. So he's immediately making his impact felt. Now Hennessy put it along and in, and a score to Mazer. So 1-0 New York Rumble coming off the turnover.
And that's perfect. Mazer did a great job there of getting himself involved in the defensive offense after the turn. And here we go with that score right over the top. Once you get that space near the end zone, all you need is a throw into that little bit of space.
That wasn't Mazer who created the turnover, too, was it? Because that'd be bookends for him, wouldn't it?
I couldn't entirely tell, but if the New York team continues to play aggressively on the resets of Philadelphia and shoots the gap there a little bit, they can create a lot of turns on this team when they're not ready for it.
So New York will send the pull now from left to right. They have the early lead. That's a long pull, sailing downfield, very strong. And the Spinners will start from their own goal.
Coming out in a side stack here, Billy Sickles was the first isolation cutter.
Sickles, a player to watch, one of the newcomers here for the Spinners.
A lot of space over here on the break side.
That's Hairnet, he's looking. You got to worry about that stall and have to hurry it along to Bear.
Yeah, and the mark there from Anderson was making the easy throws difficult.
That's one of the things they want to do here today. Now they'll retreat the Hairnet. And its pass is going to be intercepted, and the Rumble just stepped into the lane. I believe that was Mazer again, and he's on the receiving end for the score. And what a start he has had here today. It is 2-0 Rumble.
That's an impressive turnover there. Dave Bear doesn't usually make that sort of error, and he's usually not in on the offensive line so far this year.
All right, that is actually Hollingworth who made that play. He made the interception, and then on the other end, he's got the score.
Philadelphia's finding themselves down 2-0 quickly here. That's going to be a rough task for them, as they're not only going to need to score on offense, they're going to need to get a couple breaks on New York if they want to stay in this game. And it looks like they're putting most of their defensive line out now on offense. So we see Esser out there, we see Ian McClellan out there, and this is going to be a big point for them. If the defensive line can't hold, even if they turn the disc over, has the makings of a blowout early in a way that we didn't expect.
It really does. Good start here for the Rumble. Using their defensive efforts to spark some offense. And they've cashed in twice without much resistance, I might add, too, from Philadelphia. So the Spinners, it's fed out left side by Esser.
And this time, Philly came out in a horizontal stack while New York is in sort of a matchup zone here. They didn't want to get beat deep early.
Bayer put it to Meta. Now it comes on back. There's a long feed way off the mark, and they're going to turn it right back to the Rumble.
That's a rush there from Esser on the offensive side. Usually he plays defense, sometimes plays offense as well. But he rushed that throw, didn't really set his feet and get any power behind it. There were two open players over there.
So it's 3 consecutive possessions by the Spinners. 3 times they have turned it right back to the Rumble. Good look there by Schwartz as he had the back play it, and they'll swing it off right side. Well, they'll huck it all the way down.
I think Esser's going to get it back here, yeah.
Yeah, he had great position. Timed it beautifully, did Esser. Esser quite a character, quite a dresser when he's not in uniform, too. Again, they'll huck it way down. It's going to hang up there, and the defense is physical. Are we going to get a call on that? It'll be interesting to see.
It looked like there was a lot of contact. Whether he got the disc or not enters into the equation. It looks like it is going to be a foul, though.
It was Maida got knocked down. Bayer's nice feathery pass up ahead and a score for the Spinners, and they get on the board. Matt Glazer, one of their outstanding players. That's his 8th goal of the year to make it 2-1.
And you can see Dave Bayer's mechanics there do a really excellent job of getting the disc out of his hand and up to the open receiver. This is Esser's D again. This is fantastic positioning. The guy was sandwiched. He didn't have a chance.
Yeah, all over the back was Brenton Hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of contact afterwards. You can't just go plowing through players either.
Nice feed by Bayer, David Bayer on the assist. That'll make it 2-1. Still here in the opening quarter. Good look at Glazer after the goal a moment ago.
And now we're going to get our first look at the New York offense here. They haven't actually put an offensive line out yet.
What a luxury to come on and you have a 2-1 lead because your defense does all that job, Dustin.
And that eliminates the issue of them not believing themselves early in the game.
That's a short pull. Might have been influenced by a light breeze here in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. They'll use the middle of the field. Let's see if their passing attack improves. They'll huck it all the way to the back end of that end zone, and that's a big improvement for a score to take a 3-1 lead. And on the receiving end was Chris Kocher. So Kocher makes the catch on a beautiful throw.
And it was, the throw there was the key because you can see the defender close really hard here. He's given full effort on it, but the throw was all the way out in front, and no matter what that defender did, he didn't have a chance.
Damiano is trying to chase him down, and as you mentioned, no hope. So 3-1, the Rumble on top of the Spinners.
Yeah, we're going to see if they come down in something aggressive here on defense or whether they keep relying on Philadelphia to just make execution errors.
Philadelphia with their starting O back on the field.
This one should sit for a little while, so they should have their defense set by the time this comes in. Yep, pressure in the first throw.
Spinners to work that sideline. It's one thing DC Current did so well last year, didn't they? Those throws along the sideline and going sideline to sideline, stretching that defense, catch them back up ahead.
Philly's trapped on one side here. They're probably going to want to attack the other side sooner rather than later. They could just stay on this side and try to work it up as well, though.
Back to hairnet on the dump.
New York is still playing very tight on defense right now. They're showing good fitness so far in this game.
Mater's playing with a bit of an injured knee with that feed, and then Hairnet breaks behind the defense and scores. So Nick on the board with his first goal of the year.
Yeah, once he gets started going up line, he has quickness and the awareness to make sure his defender is already lost. That's actually a really easy throw when we look at this here.
Yeah, well done. Curled around Sickles with that left-handed throw.
Sickles has been involved well early. He's been taking sort of that isolation cut that Rainwater would usually take. And as you can see, so far, he's very consistent with the disc once he gets it.
Nicky Hairnet's been part of the MLU over the last 3 years, 4 years with the Spinners overall.
And he's been fantastic the whole time.
He really has.
He's absolutely one of the best, not just handlers, but one of the best players in the league.
Very personable young man, too. Very friendly.
Always smiling at us, smiling at the kids when they work with them before the game and after the game. Everybody loves Nick.
He's one of those guys that can really help this game grow.
Yeah.
Rumble, Mazer. He has a goal already, up ahead to Hennessy. Back it come to Mazer. They're going to try to guard him tightly. There's a pretty good mark on him there.
Yeah, Parifico has a lot of speed and a lot of aggression to put out on Mazer there.
Hustling on back is Gwinner, one of the newcomers for the Rumble. There's a low throw, and they turn it over. That got away. Now Bear, and a chance for the Spinners to not the score. Fell behind 2-0, and they've been creeping back into this game. This is their D trying to put some points up for Bear. Can he get it? It's going to be knocked away. Nice recovery defensively coming on over.
Yeah, Bosco did a great job.
Was it Bosco? Okay.
Yeah, he did a great job of sealing off there, but that throw has to be out ahead so the defender can't make a play on it, because the defender can get off the field and make a play, whereas the offensive player has to wait for it to come back in.
I was asking you before the game, where's Bosco? I didn't see any stats on him. Now he has one, huh?
Mazer's looking deep there.
So the Rumble, near side. Gillis.
Woo.
Bosco, dangerous pass, but it found its mark. That's Vukovic, featured in our pregame comments. Mazer quickly will send it out left.
New York should just be able to work it up from here. The Philadelphia defense is looking a little tired.
Try a double team, little soft hammer throw will create a turnover.
That's the two sort of simple execution errors on this point alone that New York has been looking like they wanted to make the whole time.
Pass intended for Hennessy. Well, they turned up the heat with that double team there defensively, and I think it created some havoc, obviously. And that's an easy score on the far side. So the Spinners right back in it on a goal. I believe it was Davini on the far side making the catch on a beautiful little feed, and we are tied at 3.
And that was a little bit of a long-lasting point, which hurts the New York team on the whole. They had their opportunities there. They turfed an easy throw, and then they threw that over-the-top hammer. And here we go. He has to make this catch. Should it be a better throw? Yes, but he's expected to make that catch every single time.
The Spinners with a pull from left to right. Nice catch right there by Davini.
He's a tough guy to catch up with as well. Once he beats his defender, there aren't many people who can follow him down to the end zone there.
He does look a year older, though.
He's looking a little gassed there. He gave the effort on the field, and now he's rested.
He's in his 3rd year in a Spinners uniform.
When he's been working hard in the offseason, too, you can see the difference in him as a player from the 1st year to the 2nd year to the 3rd year. That's what hard work will give you.
Pull will come on down to the turf. Going to be slapped around.
It's not fielded very cleanly.
No, Hennessy allowed that Spinner defense to get set. Look like they're going more man-to-man right now defensively.
Yeah, they're a little loose, though. They're trailing some of these offensive players.
Vukovic, long huck down the field, and that's going to be caught. And it's going to be good for the score. And right there, the Rumble execute effectively and put it up on the board. And they regain the lead at 4-3.
Yeah, as Marquez Brownlee was making that deep cut, he had the defender on his back right shoulder, and the thrower put it all the way out to the other side of the field. The width of this field makes it so that the defender cannot catch up there. Lindsey was in hot pursuit, but he can't tell where the throw is going to go until it actually gets up into the air.
So Brownlee back in the lineup in his 2nd year with the Rumble, coming up with a goal on a beautiful feed, and Rumble back on top 4-3.
It's been an interesting game so far. We got that early run from New York, and then Philadelphia fought back to stay in it. But right now, New York looks the better side.
3:42 remaining here in the opening quarter. Good pull from left to right.
It's sitting well. We've got Anderson coming down really hard on the pull here.
That was Hernet who received the pull.
A lot of space on the side there for Sickles.
They have to retreat with it. They swing it on back.
Again, there are a lot of Philly offensive players right now who are very far from the disc, and their defenders are having a very easy time covering them as a result.
And it's knocked down. I believe it was Brownlee who knocked it down. Indeed it was. That's Glazer. He has a goal here for the Spinners.
That's a little too easy, though, there after the disc came back in.
Now they're going to send it all the way down. Into the end zone. It's going to hang, and the defense get there. Yeah, no, they're not going to call it, are they? They will. One official was not. Now they do.
Yeah, the guy back in the back end zone there didn't have as good an angle as the closer ref here, but the defender got his elbow back up into his back.
So he got some help. Spinners with a new life. Looking to knot the score.
Whoa.
How about that layout, D?
That was fantastic. He did a really good job of watching the thrower there out of the corner of his eye.
That was Brownlee with a terrific play.
It's good to see him back with this team. This is the first game that he's played with them so far.
He's made a difference already.
And here he is open again.
Big layout.
Well, they were both open, actually.
Yep. This is Anderson. He'll play it on back. Aloro quickly out left sideline. Spinners continue to go basically man-to-man defensively.
It's a pretty swing pass.
Juan Brown, long pitch. And reaching for it is Brownlee with his second goal over the last 90 seconds or so, and it's 5-3.
As you can see, he's throwing up the bookend sign there. He got the block down on one end after he scored the point before that. That was a great two-point run from Brownlee. And we're going to need to see that from a lot of the New York players over the course of the day.
I'll tell you what, if they play with that enthusiasm, that's that big call we saw a moment ago.
Yeah, and you can clearly see his arm comes up, and the player can't even jump up there. But then this is Brownlee saving the day.
Great defense. Pass was intended for Glazer. Now he's on that receiving end. He's got the hops, doesn't he, and the reach to go with it.
Hey, the much better angle on that disc. That was actually a much better throw than it looked like when it came out of his hand. It sat up there for a long time, but the placement didn't allow the defense to get there.
Good look at the Philadelphia O.
We've got Dave Bayer sporting the Esser-style mohawk here on the far side. That's a new look for him. I like it.
They go to the same barber? Is that what you're telling me? Bayer with a catch. They quickly advance. They work the middle of the field. This is McClellan. He wears number 71 for the Spinners.
Philadelphia's working more of a spread offense look here instead of a vertical stack.
A little contact, will slow play down. Extra yardage awarded to the Spinners.
Looks like he didn't bring it in at the right spot. A little delay of game. They're going to go back.
Going to bring it back a good distance, too. That's Esser. Good look at him. Matthew Esser.
Working in tight space here. They need to get out the other side. It's a good close down on the mark.
This is McClellan. Back to Bayer. Spinners showing some patience now offensively. Back out to Esser. Esser took a look downfield. Nothing going on. Forced back to Bayer now. This is David Bayer. Been around for 4 years.
Way to stay in bounds there. Catching the imperfect pass is important, too.
Absolutely. Oh, and that's up ahead. That's well done for the score.
I like the way he played through the contact there by the trailing defender and got that pass up anyway.
So the Spinners are on the board. Good look at it again.
Yeah, the little push pass there. He got just enough on it, and there were no other defenders in sight. There was actually a second spinner there if that pass had been a little off target. New York has to maintain their intensity, stay tight on defense, but before that, we're going to see him coming back out on offense here.
That was a much needed point up on the board for the Philadelphia Spinners. And on the receiving end, that was Rob Robinson in his first year. Took us a while to recognize him. He wouldn't turn around and show us his number.
He doesn't know that we were looking just at him, and he needs to turn
right.
around, point at the numbers, maybe the name on the back of the jersey.
One of the new guys on the Philadelphia Spinners. That makes it 5-4.
Running out of time here. We've got about 50 seconds left, and New York could do well to draw this possession out and make sure they don't get rushed into a bad decision.
Yeah, if they could go into the second quarter with a 2-goal lead, but that D will break that up. Having other things to say about it was terrific go, and now they try to cash in. Far side, can they get to it over there?
There was a lot of
Out of
space over
bounds.
there, but Bayer just put a little too much sauce on the disc. It didn't come back at all. It was a straight line throw when it needed to be curved.
And Purifico could not catch up to it. That's a tough break for the Spinners. That was an opportunity.
Indeed.
Perhaps gain some momentum. Still in the opening quarter, time ticking down.
We've got one New York player about 50 or 60 yards away, which is taking away the rest of the deep cuts for his team.
They're going to try to set up a long huck here. Oh, some layout D, at least an attempt. Now the huck goes downfield, and time will expire. The catch is made short of the goal line by Mazer, and we are through one quarter of play. Very entertaining opening quarter. 5-4 your score. Let's see if they give him an extra play here.
I'm not sure what has happened here. Mazer did an excellent job to make that reception. It looks like there may have been a foul somewhere else on the field.
He was 5 yards short of the goal line. And I think that's going to be it. Yep, that's going to do it for the opening quarter. A good one. Back and forth they go. Each team with a little bit of a run. 5-4, New York through one, leading Philadelphia. We'll be back with more right here on MLU Live. Right back here at Colonial Stadium through one quarter. New York Rumble on the road. They lead the Philadelphia Spinners by the score of 5-4. It's really been their D-line that's done the job there, Dusty. They've done a terrific job through one.
And the person who exemplifies that the most so far is Brownlee. He's gotten a couple goals. He's gotten a block. He saved a goal with one of those blocks. It's been an exciting first quarter for sure. We didn't even get a stoppage there.
Absolutely, yeah. No timeouts. They ran through that 10 minutes as quickly as possible. How about Can Jam? Every time I come to the stadium, there's a newfangled game out there. I guess that's what it is. Can Jam, proud sponsor of MLU 2015. Can Jam is a fast-paced disc game perfect for the backyard, tailgating, or warming up for Ultimate. Get Can Jam today at the team store or online at canjam.com. Use the bonus code ULTIMATE for a 10% discount on your purchase. Also brought to you by Skippy Peanut Butter, right up my alley. Skippy Peanut Butter, the official peanut butter of the Philadelphia Spinners, made with the finest peanuts ever. Skippy Yippee are the funniest peanuts. I like fine peanuts, not funny peanuts.
Well, the question for me is, how do they determine which the funny peanuts are? Is there a tryout of some
Yeah,
kind?
it must be. It must be. I'll talk a little bit about what the Spinners might be chatting about right now.
Well, he's probably talking about what they need to do once they get the offensive possessions. They've had a couple chances here, and you can see that they're sort of getting their cutters are pushing too far away from the disc, while the handlers are moving the disc side to side. And as well, once they're on defense, they need to aggressively take some things away from New York. Right now, they're trailing a lot when they're playing defense, so they're playing behind the New York receivers and expecting to make a play once the disc goes up. One of the things you can do on defense is sort of dictate where your offensive player can go, as opposed to letting him make those decisions. Right now, you can see he's talking to the offense. He wants them to maintain possession and sort of determine how they're going to take care of those spaces in the center of the field. Sometimes it's been Sickles who has stepped up to be that primary cutter, and other times it's been kind of a mess where one player can make a play out of that space and others can't really tell when he's going and when he's not.
Just about set for quarter number 2 as they continue the discussion down below. Should be interesting to see how things pan out here.
And we'll be seeing Philadelphia come out on defense to start, so they'll have a chance to make this break back early. But New York's offense has looked good so far, so long as they keep their spacing. Both of these teams are suffering from getting players too far away from the disc right now, which impedes their actual deep cuts.
Pull coming from left to right. And we're underway in the second quarter. New York with the lead. Major's going to have to scurry after that elusive disc.
And that's the second disc they've missed on a skip after the pull. You have to field those cleanly so you can get into your offense.
Infraction.
We've seen a lot of marking fouls today.
Yeah, we have. Both teams trying to play that physical game.
Not always sure it's that effective when you're that close. You can throw right by them.
Hennessy feeds it up ahead, and that's a terrific one-handed catch for the score. And the Rumble attack quickly, and they open up a 2-goal lead again at 6-4. Every time the Spinners get close, they come on back, and they do some great things.
And that was a nice toss there. The way that it arced, again, removed the defender from the play. He can't make a play on it. He does the best that he can, but there's no way to do it with the angle the disc is coming in at. And Gillies is tough to get around in the first place.
And Gillies a nice catch.
One of the other things that is an issue, as you may be able to tell from the camera angles here, is that when the disc comes in on an outside-in backhand pull, it comes directly out of the sun for these guys. So that may be one of the issues that they're having fielding the disc. But still, you're expected to do it. You need to get your offense in on time.
It's got to be difficult to see it. It's difficult for us to see the field from our vantage point with that sun beginning to set across the way. We're in a glass house, basically, to broadcast this game. Looks like a greenhouse to me.
It keeps us nice and warm up here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prevents the wind from being too cutting. It's only a breeze today. I shouldn't overstate that.
Yeah, just a perfect day.
Yeah.
Nice crowd on hand for this matchup here in Philadelphia. Let's see what Nick Harrinet and company can do as the Spinners in possession.
Sickles
Down by
is
2.
open here.
Bear up into the middle.
The defender had been setting that cut up the whole way. They're planning these layouts. It's like they know exactly what the Philadelphia offense is going to do.
Sheridan. That's Katzenbach. And forced to play it on back to Ward.
If the mark wasn't as good, he would have gotten that off earlier. Hirnet was quite open on the far side there.
Harrinet will play it up ahead.
And that's another bid on an undercut here.
Yeah, they're playing aggressively. This is Ward again. Glazer comes back to help. And Nicky Harrinet. Up for Trey Katzenbach. His layout, and he got tangled up with his own teammate digging after that, and they turn it over to the Rumble.
And that's one of the things I mean when I say clarity on offense. You have to make sure you know which player is cutting where and when so that you don't do two people at the same time cutting each other off.
Long huck downfield again. That's just laid out there brilliantly, and it's caught for the score. So the Rumble defense turns another Spinner mistake in to a goal.
And it looks like New York calling a timeout here. Generally, you'd see Philadelphia call a timeout there, but New York's roster is a little shorthanded.
Yeah, New York, they're playing a whale of a game.
Yeah, the first 2 quarters here, they've scored the first 2 points in each one.
That was just beautifully laid out there. Nice catch by Kofer.
You can see the excitement there. He's riling himself up. He's riling his teammates up. These guys are out here to take the disc away from Philadelphia. I love seeing that from the New York squad.
Yeah, it's a team that does not want to be the doormat in the East here in 2015.
Yep.
I think that's reflected in all the changes they made and all the first-year players they have as they revamp their lineup.
Yeah, and it takes a little while to get all those guys to play together. So they had their first chance up against Boston, who had already had 2 games under their belt, so they were playing quite well.
All right, we'll take a quick break. You're watching MLU Live. Of course, New York with the lead over Philadelphia, 7-4. All right, right back here in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Got a good one going on the road. New York Rumble looking for the upset. They have the lead with 8:25 remaining till halftime by the score of 7-4. Just want to mention, do you have an athletic event, a team trip, or corporate outing coming up? Think about that for a second. If so, charter a private bus, minibus, or party bus from U.S. Coachways. Bus travel is one of the safest, greenest, and most affordable ways to get your group to an event. If you're going with a group, trust U.S. Coachways. That's what we do at the MLU. All right, what does Philadelphia need to do? I mean, they're in a bit of trouble.
Well, and they're going to be in a bit of a bind here as New York is pulling from half field as they took the defensive timeout there. So they're going to try to pin Philadelphia to the back of the end zone, and that sort of eliminates backwards passes and constricts the field for the offense.
New York has gone on 3 2-goal runs here in this game. Philadelphia with 1 2-goal run.
And one of the things that Philly should be doing here is spreading themselves. Yeah, now they're spreading themselves out on the line because you're not sure exactly where they're going to try to pin this pull in, and you want to be ready to field it before the defense can get down.
It's interesting, the art of the pull. In the 4 years I've been part of MLU and, of course, the AUDL before that, the pull's kind of changed the strategy and how you use it.
Yeah, and they're testing it even further with this right now.
Yep.
A team that pulls well generally has an advantage on defense. This was an excellent roller here from Mazer.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is going to have to take it from the dead corner of the end zone here.
Spinners have not been taking care of the disc. They've turned it over numerous times here today. I think the Rumble offense has really only scored 2 of the goals. When you look at it, the defense has been terrific.
And it has to do with their aggression. They keep having that belief that on every one of these Philadelphia cuts, the defender will have the better play on it.
That's Glazer. Back to Bayer.
Downfield right now, New York is pulling off some intelligent switches to prevent these easy undercuts.
Nicky Hairnet. Have to dump it on back to David Bayer. Played it out left.
Stagnation here for Philadelphia's offense. The guys are standing downfield. They're not even cutting.
Hairnet has virtually no room to make a pass, too.
That was a big cut there by Sickles. That's exactly the sort of cut that Rainwater would be making normally.
Comes over to Glazer. Looked like he lost his footing, and they'll turn it over. And this is Brownlee. He had the coverage on him.
That's just a drop there. He has to catch that disc.
Brownlee, low throw, and it's going to be dropped. It's incomplete, and it's turned back to the Spinners. So Brownlee skimmed that atop the turf here, and they could not hold on.
And actually, by turning that disc over, Philadelphia got better field position, which is something you don't see all that often.
Vukovic and Brownlee just talking about that pass as they were both trotting back to their defensive spots. They nearly had another one.
We were talking early in the game about how New York was going to have to worry about playing both ways, but Philadelphia's offense looks exhausted right now.
Hairnet with a rolling catch on the far side.
Excellent mark there by Anderson.
Yeah, he's played a big game today. He'll knock it out of the hands of the Spinners. He raises his hand and said, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, it was close, though. So you're just waiting. Maybe if he releases a little bit early, you get that turn. Non-intentional, you know.
Glazer making sure he didn't crack it.
Cracked discs are not easy to throw. They do things you cannot expect.
Wow. Lay out D. Well, I tell you.
That's yet another time where it looks like the New York players are just setting up these Philadelphia players to get D'd on undercuts.
Loro making that terrific layout D. Now he's in possession. Josu Aloro, one of the newcomers, first-year player for the Rumble.
Here we go.
And that's in for the score, and they open up an 8-4 lead.
He's rocking him to sleep. Hennessy's rocking him to sleep here. Got to leave him alone.
Absolutely. That's the first goal for Hennessy today. New York has gone on a 3-goal run, the first one of those we've seen. They've scored all 3 here in the second quarter with 5:55 remaining.
And it looks like Philadelphia's going to do the wise thing here and put out a whole new line for their offense.
Yeah, they need to make a change. Things aren't going well right now for Billy Maroon and company.
Yeah. Hennessy set this cut up for a while. He actually put his hand up earlier, maybe 15 yards before he caught that disc, and Anderson saw him, delivered the disc perfectly. Going to see Wycus pull in here, it looks like. You're going to be looking to get a deep one off as opposed to pulling from midfield where it's all about position.
That will hang up there nicely, allowing those Rumble defenders to get on downfield.
And New York is in a matchup zone here. They're preventing that early deep look by dropping a defender off 50, 60 yards from the thrower.
This is Kenny Wells. And they reverse it back to Bear again. He's going to go way downfield looking for Wells. He had a break on the defense. It hangs up there. Wells skies and makes the catch for the score. Hollingworth was chasing him, but he couldn't catch him.
Well, one of the things that Hollingworth was relying on there is, as we mentioned earlier, there was a help defender over the top. What he saw was that he didn't believe the throw was going to come up, so he took a couple steps towards the thrower, and that's the moment that the pass went up. Dave Bear was reading it the whole way. He puts up a beauty of a throw here.
Didn't he? Textbook style.
It's got good follow through, and the defender, the offensive player keeps the defender on his back, goes up early. There's no chance for the defense to make a play.
Kenny Wells in his first year for the Philadelphia Spinners with his first goal of the season.
We're going to see some of the same players out here for Philadelphia on offense right now as they put out their defensive line on offense on the previous point. So the defense for Philadelphia is going to need to get them back in this game.
8-5 you score. Yeah, the Rumble offense has not been on the field all that often here today. I don't have a clock on it at all.
No, those guys are they're on the field. They're just playing on defense right now.
Right, exactly. They can't have that offensive mindset, right?
There's a huge cut by Gillies. It looked like Lindsey got caught sleeping there.
Rumble working the far side. That's Mazer. Pass. That's with that layout defense attempt. And that's some fine D on the far side by the Philadelphia Spinners to break it up. They couldn't pick up the number, but that was well done on the block, and we got an injured Spinner down.
Looks like it was the guy who made the bid here, and I believe it was Mike Bear.
It was.
Landed pretty hard there. Got up, thought he was okay, and then
so hopefully he will be okay.
I'll get him off the field here,
Yeah.
bring somebody else in, and Philadelphia will get another crack at it.
Looked like he may have rolled in that shoulder the wrong way. Nice play by Michael Bear in his fourth year for the Philadelphia Spinners. Gets a little rub on the head. Job well done.
Philadelphia's coming out in a spread here, 4 cutters downfield across, and they're sending one of their handlers deep early. Opens up a lot of space for this throw.
Can they cash in?
And they have a lot of space on the break here, but they're choosing the huck instead.
It's going to hang up there. Getting back defensively to steal it away. Was that Anderson? Indeed it was. He'll come back with a huck of his own, and he'll overthrow everybody, and they turn it right back.
I'm not sure what matchup Philadelphia was throwing to there. Anderson's one of the tallest players in this game.
Made up some ground, though, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's got long strides.
That was Lindsey had a quick touch. Where's 31?
Nice little toss there
Yep,
on the
David
inside.
Bear. Guarded there by Anderson. Spinners work the far side. Down under 4 minutes remaining till halftime. 8-5. Big possession for the Spinners. Get some momentum back, and looks like they're going to get an easy one out of it. Indeed. Deviney on the receiving end, way down the field.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why they didn't bring the disc over to this side, but it's clear now. They had an open player in the end zone and executed the perfect throw. The defender was hardly even in the picture. It's a tight window he was throwing to down that same sideline.
That makes it 8-6. Get another look at that.
Yeah, as you can see there, it looks like it's Gillies, and he's just not able to catch up to the throw.
Is that Lindsay who made the catch?
Yeah.
It was 31, okay.
And we like to see a big game from him. That means the Philadelphia has a chance to get back into this game. Getting a late player to the field here for New York's offense. Looks like they got there just in time to avoid the delay of game. You have to get that communication from your sideline, otherwise you'll have players sprinting onto the field so that they're tired as the play starts.
Good look at the rumble. They'll receive this pull. It will roll along. Bosco played it up ahead. Mazer.
It's a good crossfield cut there from Hollingworth.
They'll send it long down to the back edge of the end zone, and the score by Brownlee. That's his third of the afternoon.
I'm sorry, it looked like it was Vukovic there on the throw and the cut across the field. He did a good job of putting that out all the way in front, and Brownlee is having a heck of a game here.
Yeah, Vukovic, nice lead. I tell you, Brownlee is tough to keep up with.
He's moving really quickly out there. As you can see, he's not carrying a lot of extra weight, so it's got to be easier for skinny guys to move, you know?
That's got to be what it is.
He kept his feet down, too. He did a good job of knowing where the end line was and making sure he got his foot down to the ground before he ran out.
You may call him skinny. He probably would tell you he's in shape.
Oh, he's certainly in shape. I didn't mean to call that into question. When you can watch him play, you can tell that. Closing down on discs, making himself open. He's doing great work. It's good to have him back.
One of the pauses for the Rumble here, would they get any negative feelings? Last year, a lot of games, they just kind of, I don't want to use the word quick, but I'm going to just try to paint that picture. And this year, at least this game, every run by the Spinners, they've had an answer, so they don't hang their head at all. They find a way to regather themselves.
And it's usually a sign of either leadership from the field players or from the coaches.
Nearly a mishap there by the Spinners, but they hold on to it. It was Robinson.
Yeah, and Sickles did a good job of focusing on it there after it bounced off of the original receiver's hands.
Sickles has had a couple of saving moments already in this game.
It's calling to mind that very first game that he had where he showed us all that he wasn't just a guy in the office.
And it played it off left, and that throw, and the catch is made for the score by Glazer on the far side. I'll tell you, he had to really stretch out for that one.
And he held on to it, too. He did a clap catch there on a layout, which is not something you're generally taught to do. But all you need to do is make the catch. When your elbows hit the ground, as you'll see here once it eventually goes up. Oh, sorry, this is the earlier play.
Yeah.
But as you see it go up here, if your elbows hit the ground, that disc can pop out of your hands. But he had a good grip on it and stuck with it.
Nice play by the Spinners. Close the gap to 2 again.
Looks like we'll be getting a timeout here.
New York leading it by the score of 9-7. Both squads going back to the respective benches. And we'll take a quick break. 9-7, the Rumble leading the Spinners.
You are just one of a kind, my dear. Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
All right, right back here in the beautiful Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, as we're deep into the second quarter. New York leading Philadelphia 9-7. MLU, of course, that's what you're watching, MLU Live. All right, go to thediscstore.com to purchase official merchandise of Major League Ultimate, game discs, apparel, accessories, and more. Discstore.com is the world's premier supplier of Ultimate Frisbee products and the official store of the MLU. Discstore.com. That's discstore.com. Also by Canterbury, the official apparel supplier to Major League Ultimate. Dress like a pro and visit Canterbury Apparel online at www.canterburyus.com, the destination for all your team's custom uniforms and athletic apparel. Canterbury, proud partner of Major League Ultimate, committed to the game. I'll tell you what, right now these two teams committed to putting on a pretty good show here today.
And we're seeing Maroon here talk to the defense and their offense. Looks like he's talking to a whole bunch of folks. And it all depends on who they're going to be putting out here to pull again from midfield. So, yeah, it's sort of a mixed line there, and they'll be looking to convert after the turn. Not sure they'll be able to force it yet. We haven't seen the best midfield pulls from Philadelphia so far, and that's been an issue for a lot of teams. They're simply not familiar with pulling from the midfield, and this is a new rule that's trying to give teams a better chance to come back from exactly this sort of deficit after they score.
I think as this game evolves, you'll see a lot of rule changes throughout the year to make it more entertaining and perhaps even more complicated for some of us to keep score.
Well, it all depends on what exactly changes. This, I just wasn't prepared for it the very first game I was out here. I had remembered in the back corner of my mind that it was going to happen.
I mean, aren't they going to institute something like a three-point play they have in basketball, maybe a throw over 60 yards or something? I don't know.
It was an interesting field there by New York. It almost looked like that disc hit him before it hit the ground, but the refs ruled that he fielded it cleanly.
So the Rumble now out there offensively. Played out to the near side. They got some work to do. Gillis' throw is going to be knocked down, stolen away. Good work.
Looked like a clap catch block there from Leon Chow.
Yep.
He was setting that cut up from a ways away as Mazur made a real deep cut and then came all the way back under.
First time we mentioned Chow's name that I can remember here today. There's my hammer throw, and that's going to be knocked down. Well, that was Colton trying to feed that hammer through. Didn't get the height I think he was looking for, Ron. Kind of slipped out of his hands.
To me, it looked like he was just throwing to the guy in green, or perhaps the jersey was blending in with the turf a little bit. It didn't seem like he seemed him.
Gillis was the guy who blocked it down, I believe. This is Bosco.
Knocked it down very confidently, like he wanted no part of catching it.
Absolutely. If I catch it, then I got to do something with it. Right? So the Rumble. Again, we'll huck it all the way downfield. This is a long run, and Mazur able to catch up to it. He looks like he's in terrific condition here. He had players collide away from the disc, and one of the players who collided with a spinner, they're going to now talk about things. I don't know if they're going to count the goal or not now. Yeah, I think they will. Why not?
Yeah, it looked like it was sort of an accidental contact.
I tend to agree.
Yeah. One of the things we've been seeing a lot more from Mazur this year is getting deep on these cuts, and people are actually putting the disc up to him. He's getting isolated, and that's generally because they put a handler defender on him, so they're not expecting to play this deep pass. On that play, it almost looked like they were just throwing to Leon.
Here's that hammer throw. Yeah.
The follow-through on the block.
Mazur in full gallop.
Yeah, and once he catches it near the end zone, all he needs is a glimpse of someone open. He's not the sort of thrower that you want to give that opportunity for. And that's exactly what New York wanted.
They never picked up the number of the goal maker. As we have a timeout, looks like with 1:16 remaining till halftime. New York leading by 3 again at 10-7 over the Philadelphia Spinners. And Coach Maroon rather animated right now, talking to his squad. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back. You're watching MLU Live.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about, as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's luau night. Come celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs, and one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
All right, right back here in beautiful Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. The Rumble on the road, having a good showing here in the first half, leading Philadelphia by 3. Dusty Rhodes alongside for the call of this one. And Philadelphia, you handicapped it. You did the handicapping before this game, and I guess you had Philadelphia perhaps with a good chance to pick up win number 2, but New York has something else to say.
Oh, New York has come out and shown an actual aggressive attitude that we've been lacking from them so far this season. The way they took control early in the game and the way they've been pressuring every single Philadelphia undercut, that can reap rewards not just when you get a block, but when the thrower second guesses his decision to throw it. And when the cutter knows that you're breathing down his back, he's a little more hesitant to make that big, aggressive showcase cut. We're going to get another midfield pull here. And it looks like New York is going to back up off of the line so that they get a good rundown, whereas the puller is going to be a little bit closer.
And they'll arc that real high up in the air. Can you call fair catch?
Well, he's not going to hit you anyway, but you gotta know where that's coming down.
This is Glazer on the near side.
No options downfield.
Back to Hairnet. He'll hammer it along to the far side. Big possession for the Spinners. They got to take care of the disc here. Down by 3, under a minute remaining.
Need to get out of this half without giving up another break, and then the second half will be another story.
Mickey Hairnet looks. He'll huck it down. Glazer waiting for it. Here comes a defense. Glazer can't hold on. That's some hustling defense by Anderson. They're going to really went over the top there.
Yeah, it looked like Glazer got his hand on the disc and caught it, and then there was contact from the defender. Seems like the New York players aren't getting down here very well. The Philadelphia players are open.
I believe that might have been Brownlee. They're going to call it a goal.
Or they can try to take the 20 seconds off the clock and not give New York a chance to come back into it.
So they're going to put 28 seconds on the clock, they decided. Welcome on back. Both teams in the midst of a timeout. New York Rumble leading at 10-8. They should have the final touch of the opening half here with 28 seconds remaining. And if they cash in, they'll rebuild that 3-goal lead. They jumped out to a 2-goal lead, Dusty, way back when in the opening quarter. And they haven't looked back. Philadelphia's made a couple of runs, but they've had an answer, the response each and every time here in the first half of the Rumble.
One of the things we talked about going into this game is just New York having that confidence, having that belief in themselves. And from the jump, when you put the other team on the defensive where they need to play great defense to get back into the game, you begin to believe in yourself and you believe that you can make the plays. What they're going to be stuck with right now, though, is getting pulled to, again, from midfield. It's going to be going into the back of the end zone, and they're going to have 28 seconds to get a goal-scoring opportunity.
Beautiful day. Of course, this is the third game of the year for Philadelphia, coming in at 1 win, 1 loss for New York, just their second game as they stagger the start of the season for some of these squads, obviously. 4 teams in the East, 4 in the West. If you're new to the MLU, Washington, D.C. current, and right now the current leader, that third dimension, so to speak.
We haven't gotten the 3D video up for the MLU yet, but that could be an exciting development, the way the disc flies in different corners.
Keep on wishing out there, Dusty.
Oh, I imagine it's coming for every sport.
Absolutely,
know?
It is. Although ESPN did away with their experiment with 3D a couple years ago. Yeah, they don't have their 3D station right now. This is the Rumble with about 20 seconds remaining till halftime. They need the statistical report and a whole bunch more as you.
Tix.com.
Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
All right back here, as you can see, a halftime score. New York, a Rumble 10, Philadelphia Spinners 8. We'll look at some of the highlights in just a moment. Dusty Rhodes, some of your thoughts. Obviously, Glazer with 3 goals offensively for the Philadelphia Spinners, helping to turn around some early game woes and get them back into this game only trailing by 2.
Yeah, and offense is going to be a big issue for Philadelphia right now. They're playing some of their players. For example, Dave Bear is playing both offense and defense. And what you need to see in that situation from him is a steady hand behind the disc and the ability to distribute. But at the same time, they're not getting the cuts downfield consistently to make it easy on him. The issue with the Philadelphia offense is that they're getting spread out, they're getting deep, and they're getting afraid to make those undercuts as the New York Rumble are pressuring every single one of them, and they're ready to bid on any throw that is imperfect or on any receiver who's just not running his routes quickly enough.
Marquise Brownlee inserted into the lineup here today for New York. He did not play in their first game of the season. What an impact he has had. 3 goals, a couple of terrific blocks. He's been all over the field defensively, and obviously he's cashed in offensively.
Literally the only thing that he hasn't done well in the first half is throw the disc. He has 1 throw, 0 completions. Aside from that, he's been fantastic. One of the things to look at for him, as well as a number of the other New York players, is that they have 6 different players on their side who have played over 10 points already in the first half. Mazer, Anderson, Vukovic, Hollingworth, Hennessy, and Brownlee have all played 10 or 11 points. And at this point, it's not too much of an issue early in the game, but as the second half goes on, once we get into the late third quarter, once we get into the fourth quarter, that's when the tiredness comes out. New York playing aggressively early got them a lead, but they may have expended enough energy that the Spinners will come roaring back into this game.
Dusty, breaking away from today's game for just a moment as they prepare the highlights here for us and alike. You got DC, the defending champs. Let's go to the highlights, and then we'll get back to a couple of questions for you here. But what do you take from these highlights in the first half?
Well, as we see, I imagine we're going to see a couple of these where New York is coming across, getting blocks, and they're making some of the better catches. But both sides are playing great defense right now.
Of course, Mazer has been a force. He's been able to break behind the defense time and time again today. He's been terrific for New York.
I mean, that's a good block by Bosco, but it's also a throwing error from Perifico. It's the same thing here. He's got to know that defender is closing.
There's one of 3, by Brownlee.
And that's the defender who's just scoring the goal there afterwards. And this is an example of how these throws, when they're going deep, need to go deep at the tail end of their flight path. They need to continue going forward as opposed to hanging.
That's a good example of how hard New York is playing today. Aloro with that layout D. Play the first half of my estimation right there, Dusty.
So it was clearly the throw of the first half. Some of these underneath blocks are just incredible, but the way Bayer put that out there, it's just picture perfect.
Yeah, Kenny Wells on the receiving end.
That's an excellent defensive play.
There's that catch you like, a little clap catch by the outstanding Matty Glazer, one of his 3. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with more chatter, more halftime festivities, your halftime score. One more time, New York Rumble 10 and the Philadelphia Spinners 8.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's Luau Night. Come celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs, and one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
All right, right back here at the Colonial Stadium in beautiful Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Rumble, they continue to lead 10-8. Things haven't changed since last time we spoke to you folks out there on MLU. We're at the half, and some youngsters enjoying the game of Ultimate right now, displaying perhaps what our future might be when you take a look at this sport, Dusty Rhodes. But, you talk about outstanding plays of the week from a week ago, and well, here you go. They're going to roll them for us.
I always like watching these again. Oh, and this is one of the guys that New York is missing this week, but he makes an excellent play on the crossfield throw here from Boston. Heads up, turns around, makes the bid.
It's Miser, of course, not in the lineup, as you mentioned. Get a chance to look at that again there, Dusty.
The way that he was reading the thrower and knowing where the open player was, he knew where the pass was going to go and knew that he could get there. Oh, this is one of my favorites. This is one of the things that you're seeing more and more in Frisbee players. He steps out. He doesn't even step out for this backhand. He just delivers it through two markers into a tiny space down here to a covered receiver.
Yeah, that was beautifully done.
With that quick flick fake, he got his defender off balance and threw it through the goal. We've got a nice give and go here.
Two familiar names collaborating again, Pryle and Blake.
And the thing that we noticed as soon as we were watching this is that they never lose eye contact after the throw goes up. Pryle does a good job of getting the inside break to Blake, and as he cuts upfield, Blake is looking right at him, Peter's looking over his left shoulder, and the perfect delivery gives you the goal.
Are they the team to beat again in 2015, your estimation?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thus far, from all of the teams I've seen, they have the best defense in the league. Out in the West, the Stags are doing well, but it's not the same sort of dominating defense.
How about the catch of the week?
Oh, he's going full speed on this one. It's a little bit of an imperfect throw, but sometimes that's what leads to your best catches.
Aaron Loach.
He's working off the defender there.
That's an outstanding catch, but how about that throw, too, over the top of the defender?
He knew where to put it, and he's trusting his receiver to make this play. The fact that he runs all the way out there, gets both hands out so that if it's off one side or the other, he's going to have the opposite hand ready to catch it. And not losing contact with it as you're coming up is exactly what you need from your receivers.
Great thing about the MLU, if you want to watch all those highlights again, it's pretty easy. Just go to the MLU website, and they're all there for you. So your halftime score, 10-8, the Rumble. They lead the Spinners. We're about 6 minutes away from the start of quarter number 3, so stay with us on MLU Live.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's Luau Night. Come celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs, and one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
You are just one of a kind, my dear. Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
Dusty Rhodes might have a favorite team. I don't know. Perhaps you want to keep that secret. Halftime continues. Of course, we reviewed the keys of the game in the pregame comments, and it's time to do it again. And for the Rumble, are they doing what they're supposed to do according to your keys of the game?
Well, at this point, they actually didn't make any early errors, so the short memory hasn't come into play so much. Their catches and throws have been good. They had a couple hiccups there where they turfed a pass and then threw out of that double team that wasn't caught. And their endurance, while it hasn't shown yet, as we talked about earlier, they do have a number of players who are playing 10 points at this point through the first half. And that's more than anybody on Philadelphia has played. Their closest is at 9. And aside from that, New York we'll see in the second half how the endurance goes. As long as they maintain their execution and as long as they maintain their aggression on defense, it won't be much of an issue.
Will they have mental endurance in the second half is another key question to be answered. Now, for the Philadelphia Spinners, things did not go their way. They didn't handle it all that well, did they, in the beginning?
And it looked like they weren't even ready to come out in this game. I don't know if they were underestimating the New York Rumble or if they just thought that they were so good that it wasn't going to be an issue. The way they've dealt with Rainwater being absent is interesting. They're putting Sickles in a lot of those situations, and he's coming through, but the next pass isn't coming the same way that you would expect it to with Rainwater out there. Rainwater's ability to throw deep out of those underneath cuts really puts pressure on the defense. And while Sickles put up at least one quality deep look, he's just not as strong a thrower at this point. As far as leaving no doubt, I have a lot of doubt about that team right now. They have a whole second half to make it back, but right now, it's in their court.
Now, you talk about Rainwater out of the game. That's 11 points off the board. So not only can he throw it, but he's like a locomotive down the field, too. And he can make some terrific catches. So we're just about set to get going. David Vukovic, of course, one of the primary players. And he was quite good out there today defensively to get things started for the Rumble.
Yeah, he's got two assists so far in the first half. He's got one block. He's completed all of his passes. He's played 11 points, 4 on defense, 7 on offense. And for the most part, he's been exactly what they needed him to be in the first half. We saw him make a good crossfield cut that led to a Brownlee goal where the throw was perfect. And all Brownlee had to do was chase it down, keep his feet in bounds. Thus far, he's been looking very good and very much up to the role that he's expected. Although Anderson is actually the guy who's playing more points thus far.
Well, Anderson, one of the seasoned veterans. Billy Sickles, you mentioned him a couple of times. Can he fill in for Rainwater? And you think he's holding his own weight right now?
I do. He's actually one of the few downfield players for the Spinners who you're not seeing the New York defense catch up to on his undercuts. He's either faster or timing it well, or he's just confident enough and doesn't believe that anybody can match up with him. The issue is, again, the connection after he gets the disc.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back in about 90 seconds with the second half for you right here on MLU Live, the New York Rumble, and the Philadelphia Spinners.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's Luau Night. Come celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs, and one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
You are just one of a kind, my dear. Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree for all the world to see that you were made for me.
All right, the mascots, cheerleaders, all having a good time. The folks across the way enjoying all the festivities here at Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, the home of the Philadelphia Spinners. They're going to be at a couple of different places throughout the year, spreading the word, the gospel of Ultimate.
Well, you got to make your way through Philadelphia, through some of the outlying suburbs, and you got to spread the word about Ultimate, as you said. The interesting thing is as you see these mascots battling out for, I imagine, who's going to host the next game at this point, is that every place that they go to in Philadelphia has a crowd. The ultimate scene in Philadelphia is strong and has a lot of different people involved in it from the top to the bottom.
Obviously, the D.C. area also strong. Boston area, really, where they put all these teams, it's been well thought out. They go into the hotbed areas of Ultimate and give those folks, the high school kids, the younger kids, an opportunity to watch true professionals compete at the highest level of the sport. They really do a terrific job with that.
And the way that it comes out there is that you get involvement with the local leagues, and all those people who play on weeknights, play on weekends, then they can be encouraged to come out and see some of the best athletes who we have playing the sport, as opposed to just someone telling you a story about how much fun their league game was on Thursday at the water cooler.
Good look at the Philadelphia Spinners. They're ready to break their huddle as we're settling in for the third quarter of play. Spinners down by 2. So, you know what, I guess overall, you talk about the terrible start they got off to, and New York forced 2 quick turnovers and had 2 points up on the board before you could blink your eye. They played them even after that.
They did. And as you can see there, when they were talking on the sideline, these guys are confident. They're smiling. They're ready to go for the second half. They're excited for the opportunity to get back in this game as opposed to being down about where they put themselves. That's a big thing in Ultimate because once you get down a point, you have to rely on your defense to get you back into the game while your offense holds.
Down to our left, we'll go the New York Rumble, and to our right, the Philadelphia Spinners. The Rumble will send the pull downfield, and the Spinners get a chance to start this second half on a positive note. Cats him back. One of the guys, Glazer, is out there. Hairnet, name 3 of them.
And here we're seeing New York come out with Hennessy and Anderson and Brownlee. And I always like seeing how teams come out in the second half on defense after they had a good first half. Can they maintain that intensity? Can they maintain that pressure? Or do they feel fulfilled in how they did in the first half?
Sun starting to set on the horizon out to the west. Should not be a factor at all here in the second half.
Aside from distracting people with a beautiful view out towards the side, you know. It looks like we're going to see Alan Brown pulling here. He's getting a good one up, and it's going to sit for a while.
And Brown, good height on that, good distance too, and the Spinners will start from their own end zone.
He really has to catch that pull. By letting it hit the ground, he gives the defense an extra 2 seconds to get down.
Spinners deep in their end. Hairnet playing a little give and go. Hairnet gets it right back from Bayer.
Yeah, a little miscommunication there on New York. They were covering one guy with 2 people, and the other man was open underneath, which looked like it was Sickles there.
Ward played it off left. Cats him back. Trey up to Glazer. Glazer dropped it. Trying to make that clap catch again.
He took his eyes off the disc there. It's like he was trying to turn up field before he was ready. You have to look it into your hands or just be practiced enough that it doesn't happen.
That's a tough turnover. He was basically in the end zone. He was straddling the line.
Maybe he was looking for the pylon, trying to figure out if he was in. Looks like a foul. Yeah, didn't exactly come out of his hand at all. Brownlee has completed his first pass now. He's got his completion rate up to 50% as opposed to the 0 he posted in the first half.
So now you give him an A rating with his 3 goals on the block, right?
In all the big counting categories, he's already making his mark.
Anderson played it out left side. Rumble looking to reestablish a 3-goal lead here early in the third quarter. It was hunted down to the near side by Brown. Back into the middle they go to Hollingworth. Hollingworth with a nice catch for goal today. And we get a whistle, maybe away from the disc.
Yeah, it looks like a pick here. So they're going to lose 10 yards and come back. Their offense was looking a little clustered here in the center out of their vertical stack.
Hollingworth. Now Anderson. Joe playing on back into the middle to Hennessy.
It's a good thing he got out of that. Their offense had like 3 or 4 players cutting in.
Hennessy throws up a dangerous pass. Trey Katzenbach will knock it down. Handing it quickly to Glazer. Well, the Spinners try to strike quickly. A little double team, and Anderson got a hand in on it.
That's a nice situational double team that we've seen New York do multiple times. They have to avoid the foul there, but that's the right time to do it because the thrower doesn't always see that second guy coming until he turns.
And it really forces Philadelphia to reset, too, if you're not ready defensively. This is Hairnet. Took a couple extra steps, got away with that, perhaps. Got to find a way around some of those rules, right? That's laid up there, and that's some D again.
And there was a lot of space there that was just a subpar throw from Hairnet, which is not what we usually see.
Hennessy with the interception.
Anderson has been making the first cut out of their sets here.
Oh, interception. Terrific work there by McCutcheon. And McCutcheon on the receiving end. That'll be bookends and a score.
Did a good job holding off the defender there, making the catch early. But those are execution errors that are leading to this back and forth early in the quarter here.
Yep, I had the wrong number again. Once in a while I do that. That was Matha with the goal, so do apologize. Number 5 and not 1. He's had himself a nice game, too, today.
Yeah, when he gets aggressive, he covers a lot of ground, has long arms, gets the disc out in front on offense and defense. Here we're seeing where it's almost like he's throwing to the Philadelphia player. He was reading, he took the inside edge there, so he had a shot at the disc before offense did.
Nice catch.
Yeah, and good effort from the New York player to get into that play. If he had given up early, it would have been over in a rush.
Makes it 10-9, 7:20 remaining in the third.
It'd be excellent for Philadelphia if they can get an early break here or at least take New York out of what they want.
This is Bosco. We'll pick it up off the turf.
Philadelphia's poaching the handlers a little bit, trying to close down the throwing lanes.
Vukovic. Oh, there's some D. The Spinners have come to play here in the second half.
That's a fantastic block. He knew that his man was the isolation.
That
he
was
made him
McCutcheon.
look open and then took the disc away on a perfect bid to avoid the foul.
And they cash in quickly with a score. So McCutcheon with that layout D, he set it all up. And the Spinners have come all the way back here to tie it at 10.
And you can see there from Lindsay, after he catches the goal, he's got the determination that he wants to get his team back in it. But he's still got the smile on his face, sticks his tongue out a little bit, gets his guys smiling back at him. That's how you create belief in your teammates.
Lindsay, 1 goal on the season coming in. He has another here today. Matter of fact, he has 2 today.
Really like that block.
That was beautifully done. How about the pass by Bayer to Lindsay?
Lindsay made enough space over there that Bayer didn't have to rush, and the mark didn't pressure him at all, didn't make that disc come out difficult.
So we're tied at 10. It'll be interesting to see how the Rumble reacts here.
I'm going to expect to see at least one Philadelphia player get down on this pull. So far today, they've been using Colton in that role a lot, but there's a lot of speed on this Philadelphia line right now.
Joe Anderson still on the field. Good look at Hollingworth. That is David Bayer on the pull.
New York's in a vertical stack here.
This is Hennessy. Mazer breaks way downfield. They're looking for him, but there's a lot of help defense there. Bayer, can he get it? It's tipped. And it's knocked away for Mazer.
It looked like Perifico on the D there, and if he didn't get the D itself, he made it difficult for the offensive players to get there.
Well, they had a free safety on the backside. Everybody in front. Perifico makes the catch in front of Mazer. Mazer has gone now about 80 yards in the last 20 seconds up and down the field. He hasn't come off too often today. And they score, and all of a sudden, they're really starting to take control. Michael Hanna with the tally.
And this is where New York has to have the resiliency to stay in this game. Once things start going wrong for your team, that's how you see how you respond.
That went off the hands of Mazer, perhaps.
Yeah, he got the first look at
Yeah.
it, but he was under a lot of pressure from 2 defenders there.
Michael on the receiving end. He's been quite a force for the Spinners throughout the years. He's been around all 4 years of their existence and comes up with a goal and the motivation from Nicky Hairnet. Who else? Well, we got a timeout. We'll take a break. We got a new leader, Philadelphia. They lead New York 11-10 in the third.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's luau night. Come celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs, and one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
Well, Philadelphia trailed at the half. They've scored 3. Now they lead 11-10. Just want to mention Point 6 Socks, the official sock sponsor of Major League Ultimate. Check out www.point6.com for their full line of performance merino wool socks. They sound very comfortable. And how about Game Grip? Stop your hands from sweating and increase your performance with Game Grip. This non-sticky solution allows you to make better throws and grab better catches without a hint of slippage. That's what I need, is some gamer grip for my pencils up here in the press box on a hot and humid day, Dusty Road. So are you surprised with the start here by Philadelphia? I'm not. They play with a lot of
I am a little bit surprised. I didn't think that New York was going to give it away as easily as they had. Usually when you see a team make a run like this, it relies on the team believing and making the plays, but it also relies on your opponent making an error here and there. And this is the point where we see if New York is up to the task. Are they still believing that they can win this game? Because as you can see here, Philadelphia is bearing down on them.
Good look at Esser, number 11. And that moon high above. Is that full? Nearly full. Might be missing a little bit down that bottom left. This is Bear on the pole. David will put some hang time, some air underneath that. Bosco will field it.
And now New York's coming out of a side stack.
Hennessy off left side. Contra had a quick touch.
Must have been Chow making that.
Yeah. Not afraid to give up the body at all. Hennessy tightly covered. Smartly coming back to it was Contra. Contra with a goal. This is, looks like Mazer. He'll just flick that huck downfield. Beautifully done. And a nice reaching catch by Robbie Gillis for the score.
Dismissively spiking the disc there, almost like it was too easy. And it was, in a sense. He set up deepest on the field, and Lindsay bit on the first two steps underneath, and then Gillies just turned around and took it to the house as Mazer saw the whole thing develop. And Mazer, as you can see in this, he gets a lot of power behind the throw, sits it out, banks it back in towards him, and Gillies goes up first.
Not easy to do that on the forehand side. Flick it the way he does underneath of the defender and get the rise out of that disc. Well thrown.
As a thrower, you have to respect him on both sides. He has power with his backhand, has power with his flick, and he tests you downfield as well if you're not ready to cover him.
So that knocks a score at 11 as a Rumble with a quick response nearly midway through this third quarter of play.
It's continuing the excitement level from the first half. I like the way this is coming back. It's going to shape up into a beauty here.
Both these teams trying to either maintain in the standings and, in the case of New York, really leapfrog up a couple of notches, perhaps, the way things are tightening up in the East.
They probably want to try to keep that pull in bounds. It got down the field so far and then just tailed out the side there. That gives such an advantage to the offense as opposed to starting pinned on one side. Philly's going to come out in sort of a vertical stack look here with four guys downfield.
Hearing that?
I'm not sure what the play design there was, but I'm betting it wasn't run around and throw a dump behind.
I think Anderson influenced that a little bit, too, as a throw in the company.
Katzenbach took off on a great deep cut there right away after that sort of messy completion underneath.
And they decided not to go to him there. Now Katzenbach to the near side. He'll send one out ahead, and it's going to hang up there, and it's going to be caught for the score. Well, I'll tell you, that was just well done by the crafty Katzenbach, and Sheridan on the receiving end with a big score for the Spinners to regain a lead here.
As you see this throw go up, this is just where the mess happens. Katzenbach takes off deep and then comes under to get the pass here. It just sails out there. It sits a little further than the Rumble defender wanted it to. He had to go up early to try to make that play, though, as he had inside position.
Sickles, I really thought, made that play work. You talk about that catch in the havoc there, and he elected not to try to feather one in to Katzenbach downfield. And Katzenbach came all the way back near side and set up in a beautiful spot.
And that's one of the big things that this game is about, is putting in the effort to know that if you make a good cut early and don't get the disc, it's not time to put your head down. It's time to make your next cut and get the disc back in your hands. You have to want it.
David Bear. Last pull went out of bounds. This one will stay in fair play. Bosco.
It's a nice deep pull there. Starting 10 yards back makes a difference.
Hennessy. Colton all over him defensively. Rumble trailing by 1. Led at the half by 2.
Gillies just got open on that same cut that he made earlier, abusing that deep defender.
Kotcher flicks it to the sideline and way out of play.
Well, he was trying to throw it deep to Mazer there. It looks like Mazer should have been the one throwing it deep to himself, perhaps, to get it out in front.
We'll see if the Spinners can cash in. Bosco trying to hustle into position defensively.
It's nice work popping it out to this side of the field.
Perifico to Bayer, now to Perifico again in the middle. Up to Bayer. Bayer's going to edge one to the back end of the end zone and in for the score. Matheson on the receiving end, and the Spinners with the lead by the score of 13-11. I believe it's their first 2-goal advantage today.
And as you could, once we get the replay here, you're going to see the offensive player cuts all the way across the end zone, and his defender is not catching up with him. It was Gillies who had made a bunch of deep cuts earlier, so this is where we start talking about endurance. They've been playing a lot of points, and they still need to have enough energy to do this. Philadelphia's pulling ahead late here. This is a real test.
Good look at the goal score a moment ago. Big number 41, Nicholas Matheson, in his second year with the Philadelphia Spinners. 13-11, you score. 4:16 remaining in the third.
Yep, looks like we're going to have a delay of game here on New York. They had 7 players on the line, then they pulled one of them off late and had a guy sprint in very late to try to get the 7 players they wanted on the field. This is just a mental error and an execution error, knowing who's going to be on the field at which time. The coaches have to communicate clearly to their team, and now they're going to have to start from the entire back of their end zone.
Michael Pana's got a goal here in the second half. Michael will send the pull downfield. We'll hang up there, drift on down. And a little sprint workout for the Rumble. They're already gassed.
New York's in a vertical stack here.
We'll send it down to the near side, and that just goes sailing out of bounds to the near side.
It's a throwing error there from Mazer, both on the execution and the fact that the deep throw that he was throwing to didn't look that open. The defender was on his hip.
Michael Pennon, guarded by Mazer. Whoa, I tell you, they had to hustle to keep that in play.
Yeah, it's just got to be a better throw, but you expect your guys to help you out when you err a little bit.
Penna and Esser playing catch. This is Esser. He'll huck it downfield and trying to get there and making the catch on the run. And they send it up, and that is well done. That's how you strike quickly. Wow.
It was a fantastic put there by Esser. He got a lot of power behind that disc, and then it was off to the races for Philadelphia. You saw that the second player down was totally uncovered as he cut into the end zone, making it an easy throw.
That was a great cut coming almost all the way across the field from right to left. See that again.
This is that catch in the end zone. This is what makes that play later possible.
Absolutely. That was Robinson who made that layout catch.
And here he runs by and no one picks him up at all. I'm not sure where his defender even is.
Nice catch. I believe that was that Robinson on the receiving end of that? Couldn't really pick it up.
Oh, that was a little quick there.
Yeah.
It looks like the wind's picking up here. You can see the jerseys rippling, and if Philadelphia can get a good pull-off here into the wind, then New York will be facing an even tougher challenge.
14-11 you score. Yeah, temperature's starting to drop a little bit, too. It was very comfortable. About 73, 74 degrees at the first pull. Oh, they turn it over again. Now the Rumble's starting to get a little sloppy. This has been some of their problems in past years, Dusty.
It's just the sort of thing that in the first half it wasn't an issue. They had built themselves a lead. Now it's things are piling on each other.
Yeah, they're down by 3. Spinners do him a favor. They turn it right back as they try to hurry a throw into the middle. That was Colton trying to make that dramatic catch and could not.
New York lost their chance for a quick attack there, but they may not have enough energy to do it all the time right now.
They've outscored New York 6-1 here in the third quarter. How's that for defense by Mr. Esser on the far side?
And Zoo actually had the advantage, but the throw didn't go out far enough. Esser can make up that ground if you don't put a perfect throw out in front of him.
This is Bayer. He'll huck it downfield, and a nice leaping catch there by Colton.
Got to see these players earlier.
And McCutcheon breaking, and he didn't hit the cutter. And now a stall.
Yeah, it looks like he got stalled out there. He didn't see the whole field. He focused in on the end zone and didn't know where the players were behind him. He needs to know where both options are so that he can make a better decision.
Turn right back to the Rumble. Down under 2 minutes remaining in third. This is Anderson.
And whether the Rumble score here or not, this is the sort of point that's just going to exhaust them when we go back to that endurance question.
Laurel out right, comes back up for Brownlee. He was claimed he got tripped up there a little bit. The officials see it differently, and it's back to the Spinners.
Tripped up there or not, he's got both hands on it. If you have both hands on it, you have to make the catch. It's not a good throw.
Looks like David Bayer on the far side. Hennessy not giving him much. Chow.
Philadelphia's open.
Chow over to Bayer.
It's a good continuation from Perifico.
Perifico will edge one towards the end zone, and a score by Charlie McCutcheon. Boy, what a third quarter for Philadelphia.
Yeah, they came out like as if they actually want to win this game. Putting it near the end of the third quarter with just under a minute left and a 4-point lead, that's almost insurmountable.
There's that terrific play by Esser. Might have been a little short on the pass, but still a terrific effort.
I'm not sure if New York has another thing to go to right now. They've tried a vertical stack. They've used a horizontal stack. They've put more of their defensive players in on offense than they had earlier in the game, and nothing is working right now. Philadelphia is all over them.
Pana, they made some adjustments. They're playing a cleaner third quarter is what they're doing. We talk about Philadelphia.
And all of these long points play into Philadelphia's advantage.
Sails out of bounds on the far side. Might have been influenced by that wind that's starting to pick up. See a few folks starting to put a light jacket on. Of course, the players won't do that.
Well, they're using a little more energy to it. It helps you stay warm, and plus they're fit, they're ready to go. You got to focus on the game, not the conditions.
Good look at Hennessy.
Me, on the other hand, I'm going to follow suit and put a jacket on here in a little bit.
Mazer. Yeah, it's Gwinner, one of the newcomers for the Rumble. Bosco, one of the seasoned veterans.
Honestly, a lot of these New York cuts downfield, they're very fast and they're running very hard, but they're running without purpose. They're circling around. They're not working in concert. They're working as individuals.
Hennessy trying to lay one up. It becomes a jump disc, going to be knocked away.
That disc has to not be floating up. It has to be put out on a lower angle, a tighter angle to the field, and it really shouldn't have been thrown in the first place. It was a tightly covered cut.
It was Esser who was back there. This is Esser now. Flicks it down the sideline.
Yeah, he had a really wide open deep cutter right then.
Miano, he wears number 4. Well, that's it. Third quarter will expire. They're going to wave off any attempt at a goal. Clever effort. Try to keep that all in the motion of setting it up for a goal there without any stoppage. But they're going to call the third quarter over. Big one for the Spinners. 15-11. They lead. They trailed at the half. 10 minutes remaining. Stay with us right here on MLU Live.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's Luau Night. Come celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs. And one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
You are just one of a kind, my dear. Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
Well, you talk about domination, Dusty Rhodes, and for Philadelphia, they have outscored New York from about the midway point of the second quarter till now, 11-2. At one point, they trailed 8-4.
The ability to make a 6-point gain just in the third quarter speaks to the quality of the defensive effort that they were putting in and their ability to convert afterwards, but the fact that they believe. I've been harping on this throughout the game, and the way the New York Rumble are playing right now, it's as though they can feel it falling apart around them. And what that showed in that last point there was that individual players are trying to take it upon their own shoulders and do it themselves. This is a team game. It's connective. You can't just run the disc into the end zone on your own. You have to trust your teammates to do their jobs, and you have to do what is expected of you.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Rumble can regroup here. You've been talking about it the entire game that they're under-manned, coming in really with key injuries and lots of injuries. So they got guys going two ways that aren't accustomed to doing that. And you saw Mazer, I think we made a comment back in the third quarter, in a span of less than 60 seconds, he had probably raced up and down the field a total of 160 yards, which is a lot of work.
And that's kind of expected of you, but the thing is he's not getting the rest in between points.
Right.
The difference between having a lot of players and not is that you get, instead of getting a minute of rest or 2 minutes of rest, you get 20 seconds of rest. You have to go right back out and play on the other point there. And what's happening right now is the points leader in points played for the Spinners, it's Patrick Lindsay and Matt Esser with 13 points. For the New York team, they've got Hollingworth, Mazer, Hennessy, Anderson, Kocher, Vukovic, Brownlee, and Gwinner all at 13 points or more, all the way up to 18 points for Anderson. That's the sort of thing that is starting to show right now, because those players for Philadelphia who are playing all of the points, they're playing on defense. So they're just out there for defense. The guys for New York are playing both ways, and the seams are starting to show a little bit in their offense.
David Bayer, he's been out there a lot doing effective things today for the Spinners with the pull downfield, and it's going to be a difficult beginning here to start this fourth quarter with Hollingworth chasing it down as they got on by. This is Hennessy now.
Fielding these pulls has been an issue for New York, and that's something you practice and that you work at. That's a skill, not something that you do automatically.
Mazer laid it off to Vukovic. Vukovic is going to need a big fourth quarter here. Back to Mazer. Anytime you can get Mazer retreating after he's made a cut up field, you've won a little battle there. He had to come all the way back to get that disc.
And Chow was trying to close on it a little bit, but the disc sat up high enough so that he couldn't make the play.
Looks like Anderson.
That's a good break there to get it across. It's a good continuation.
Hollingworth. He'll dump it back. I do like the Rumble kind of taking their time upfield.
It's a good decision right now. They just need to get that first goal for their offense, and then they can put the actual defense out on the field.
Perfigo playing some tight defense. Was awarded with an infraction.
Yeah, he was bumping a little bit earlier in this point as well. I like the way the thrower shrugged it off, though.
There's some defense. Anderson was feeling the stall, I think, and just tried to force a pass through.
And Lindsay did a great job of just slapping it down.
It's laid up there. Swatted away.
That's a good D. Esser is a really tough guy to keep up with for that long a run.
Good defense by Kotcher.
New York is spread out right now. Most of their cutters are 30 or 40 yards away.
Chris Kotcher. Hollingworth comes near side to Mazer. Mazer going a long way down the field. And it's tipped and caught on the tip by Anderson.
It's excellent focus.
And experience up to Mazer.
He's been playing this game for a while, even before the MLU.
And Mazer will feather one in for the score, and they needed that as Hennessy will tally. They make it to 15-12. It took them a while, but they got it done. They stuck with it, did the rumble.
It's that sense of relief. Now that they've broken through a little bit, they have to pressure on defense, and they have to get some guys out there. Those sorts of plays that Anderson just made there where the disc is just sort of fluttering around, he's been playing since he was in high school. So he's made that play multiple times. Oh, he got in front of him there at the end. Esser looked like he was going to go up first.
It's that Anderson catch. I think I could have made that throw. I don't know, Dusty.
Well, that's what happens when your teammates come down and help you.
That's right. I wonder who's going to give me a uniform. I'll take one of the West Coast teams, please.
I was going to ask which one of these uniforms here you preferred. I like these pinstripes on the New York team.
Yeah, I do. Much improved over last year's uniform.
You didn't like those shorts.
Didn't like those uniforms. I could say that now. They're not wearing them. Right?
Only the fans. Now it's a relic. It's a throwback.
There you go. Katzenbach. Talk about a guy who's been around the game for a long time. Trey certainly has been.
And he didn't pick it up till much later.
He was just a natural. This is Glazer. Glazer's been hustling all over today. And it's in for the score. Contact was made, did not disrupt the play, and there he is. Trey Katzenbach on the receiving end with the goal.
And he's a big body who establishes his presence there in the end zone. And I don't think the thrower knew he was throwing into double coverage, but when you're throwing to Katzenbach and he can confirm this catch, even though the defender comes from his blind side, that's what you want to do. It's still a goal.
Nice play by Trey. 16-12 your score, 7:22 remaining. Good look at Mr. Katzenbach. Dr. Katzenbach, right?
Exactly.
Works in the Philadelphia area. I don't know how he finds the time to stay in shape and compete at the highest level of ultimate, but he does.
Commits to it. He has support from his family. It all works together once you have to design your life around it a little bit at this point in Ultimate's development.
Good look at the rumble. Perhaps a bit bewildered right now, down by 4. Flight of that disc. Got into that moonlight.
It's another fielding issue on these pulls.
Mazer had to go chase it. Now Hennessy. Hennessy fakes the pass, tried to shake the mark.
Sometimes we're having 2 or 3 cutters going into the same space for New York, and other times they have 0 cutters going anywhere.
Spinner's been basically man-to-man throughout this game defensively, at least a majority of the time. They've had nice team speed.
This is getting tight here.
That throw got away. It was intended for Hennessy. Kind of forced along. The stall count was on.
It was up high, and he only had one option. He only had that up line cut, and it was a tight throw. Could have executed better.
Michael Penna's going to flick one. It stays low, but it finds its mark. Up the field to Rob Robinson. Robinson will feather it along, and that is a reaching catch for a score by, is that Tommy O'Connor, I believe?
Looks that way.
Indeed.
And he's one of those guys with the wingspan to go up and catch that disc as it hops on the wind a little bit. It looked a little dicey from up here, but this guy can make the catch.
O'Connor looking strong in that effort. There's a nice throw. Great catch. Well done.
Really extended well there.
Tommy O'Connor. 17-12 your score. 6:20 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Philadelphia on their way to win number 2, trying to keep pace with the top teams in the East. DC, the current at 2-0 currently. Spinners at 1-1. Boston Whitecaps at 1-2. Rumble 0-1.
And a win here for Philadelphia is going to make that opening weekend double loss for the Whitecaps. That could come back and bite them all the way at the end of the season. It means they've already dropped one game to Philadelphia with 2 left to play between those two teams, and they've got the advantage going into the rest of the season.
That's Bear again on the pull. He's thrown it downfield the majority of times today.
Oh, my.
Again, they miss it and lose it out of bounds.
That's even worse than just misfielding a bouncing pull is dropping the pull.
Wow. And they cash in easily.
It's over. We've got a 6-point game here with 6 points left to play, and New York is just out of it. They're making errors fielding the disc, they're making errors on offense, and their defense doesn't have the energy to compete anymore.
That's Dustin Damiano on the receiving end for Philadelphia on that far side of the field. Bear with the pass. How was that sliding catch? You gotta love it.
Chow to Bear to a goal. That's something we like to see here from their defensive side. And as we talked about earlier, Bear had been playing some offense earlier. Now he's in on the defensive line, as Philadelphia won't need to rely on their offense unless something goes horribly wrong here at the end of the game. They can put more pressure on defense and just shut the door on New York.
Billy Maroon went all the way out to talk to his pull team out there, and they may institute coaching boxes after you run all the way onto the field where you can only stay in that certain area.
Well, in between, as long as you get back off the field quickly enough, you got to communicate to them somehow, and the crowds can get very loud out here.
Nice crowd here today. 18-12, largest lead. Of course, Philadelphia trailed by 4 in the opening half. They were saying that's the largest deficit a team has overcome in MLU history, a 4-goal deficit. And built that into a 6-goal lead here.
It was quite a turnaround there.
Yep.
I'm not sure exactly what Coach Maroon was talking about at halftime, but it must have been genius.
I believe the Rumble will maintain possession here. That's Brownlee. Haven't heard much from Brownlee here in the second half. He had that big first half with 3 goals, a block, some other fine defense. Oh, look at that. It's tipped along, looking for that catch on the redirect, and it's out of play on the far side.
And as we've talked about before, the last player to get into that mess there comes in with the most momentum and the most ability to get up in the air and make the first play. The issue here is that he was attempting to jump over his own player, and as a result didn't get a clean run at the disc. It's a nice break there by Bear.
Damiano. Seeing Casey out there.
Getting some good deep cuts here still from Philadelphia.
Whoop. That one got away. Right back to the Rumble. Down under 5 minutes left. Hennessy going for it all. As he hangs it up there. And that is a score. And that is much needed for New York. Vukovic on the receiving end.
And Hennessy, as we can see here in a bit, is looking at that throw the entire time. The cut was open early. Hennessy recognized it, and it was only a matter of time before he got the throw off. It's an excellent catch there. He holds off the defender just enough to make the catch, and Esser can't really get off the ground to make a play on it.
That's a tough defender to hold off, and Esser.
Not only is he fast, but he's got enough mass that you can't just expect him not to take control of the space around you.
So a deficit down to 5 with 4:33 left. There is a glimmer of hope remaining for the New York Rumble here.
The key for them is that Philadelphia's offense tends to take a lot of passes on their possessions. And if they continue to do that for the rest of this game, they'll be running out the clock on New York. New York is going to need to get down and get a block early in the first 2 to 3 passes in a possession and then score right away.
They hurried that pull down the field.
Coming in like a 1-3-2 or 2-4-2, 2-3-2. I'm losing my numbers here. I can't do math in my head.
And then able to turn one into the receiver. That's Sickles. Sickles now controlling again. He's a left-handed flicker, huh?
Yeah.
Up ahead the hairnet.
His left-handedness gives him an advantage repeatedly. The mark just isn't ready for exactly that throw to get all the way across the field.
Good disc movement here by the Spinners, and I'll tell you what, Glazer on the receiving end with his 4th. Come on, too easy there, Matt. He didn't have to touch it till you got to the end zone.
The Spinners are confident now, and I don't think there's anything that can happen in the rest of this game to take them out of that. But the issue for them now is to focus on execution, focus on what they can work on for the next game. This game is over. Shaking them off.
Absolutely.
No contest.
Dr. Glazer, too. Got to be smart to play this game.
Well, it takes a little while to learn. You got to learn
Yeah.
the flight of the disc. You got to commit to playing and have enough time somehow in your schedule.
Down under 4 remaining. 19-13 your score.
Well, that's one of the better pulls of the game.
Yeah. Whoa.
I love seeing players get down on the pull and be able to disrupt early. Inches away from a block on the opponent's end zone.
Now they're throwing it up for grabs, and you talk about the rumble approach to offense, and they'll turn it right back.
Well, at this point, they're also rushed.
Caught you with a nice play, and then a nice catch just up top the shoelaces for the score.
It was close enough to him that he couldn't actually lay out for the disc and just has to get his hand down before he falls.
I believe that was Hennessy, wasn't it, who made that terrific play? Look at that.
Here in a second.
Yeah, it's hard to read the number there. That's number 2 on the far side. Hollingworth, Andrew Hollingworth with his second of the game.
He's also a new addition to this team, but
Yeah.
he comes with a lot of previous Ultimate experience, and he can be a good addition as a thrower, as an underneath cutter. And we've mistaken him for Mazer a couple times because he's a similar two-way threat.
He needs to shave the beard. He's looking like everybody else out there.
Speaking for someone who has a beard himself, I'm not sure I take that too
There's
kindly.
a lot of facial hair out there in 2015. I think you need a razor sponsor. That's what you need.
I need somebody to do it for me, too. I haven't done it in so long, you know? Just keep the trim. Got to keep it tight, though.
Look at how clean cut Nicky Hairnet is, number 7 for the Philadelphia Spinners.
Phillies coming out in their spread here, a little horizontal action.
Spinners with it. 5-goal lead, just above 3 left. They take care of business. They should be okay. McClellan plays it on back to Trey Katzenbach, and up ahead it comes in the middle again.
And one of the things you can see here is that the New York defenders are trying to overplay and get chances at blocks, and that leaves open players and open cuts for Philadelphia to just work up the field.
Now they work on the sideline, and that's thrown ahead, and well done. And it continues for Glazer. Yet another, his 5th.
Glazer has shown a lot of speed over the course of the time in the MLU, but he's making a difference this year.
He was banged
in his
up a bit
positioning.
last year, remember?
Yeah, and it cuts down on a guy like him, but his ability to continue and fight through that and get back this year, it's the off-season training. It's the way to focus on your upcoming season.
5 goals unofficially today for Matty Glazer. Lead back to 6 with 2:54 left. Not even winded.
Again, you got to be fit to play this game. You're going to get tested on every single point by someone who wants to take the disc from you.
David Bear again. You're saying that haircut looks like Esser's haircut, huh?
Well, it's fallen down a little bit over the course of the game. Early on, it was nice and spiky and well-defined.
Let's say it's an attempt at an Esser style.
Well, Esser's got his own style. We can tell that. As we were saying earlier, he dresses quite well when he shows up to these games. We just heard recently that he's going to be a contestant on American Ninja Warrior as well. So we'll see what else he can show off.
Wow. He's an athletic guy, very strong. And the rumble, did Hennessy get it? What's the ruling? A score.
It's good footwork and awareness. Again, that's a tight throw down the sideline to keep in bounds. Came back just enough, relied on the receiver to drag his feet and catch it for a goal.
That's a third of the game for Hennessy.
And he's had a couple big games here and there over the course of the MLU's existence.
Michael Hennessy in his second year with the New York Rumble, 2.5 left. 20-15 is your score. Both teams coming back to their respective benches for the timeout. Allows us to take a timeout. We'll be right back. Philadelphia on top by 5.
You are just one of a kind, my dear. Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
A good look at the New York Rumble, looking for a little miracle perhaps coming out of that huddle. Down by 5. The officials have done a nice job. Couple of controversial calls from the standpoint where they needed to get together to get the call right. I like the communication they showed out in the field, sporting new-look uniforms in their own right, aren't they?
I'm not sure why they don't get their own numbers, maybe 110 out here, so we can identify them a little differently.
But I do like the big R's, maybe big numbers on the back of jerseys of players that stand out like that would be terrific.
Perhaps I shouldn't be saying they need numbers. We're supposed to think of them as a team, as a unit who's out here officiating the entire process.
They should all wear the number 1 then, perhaps.
And you can see one of the things I like about this game is that you can see the band in the back there that the refs are still holding on to. We haven't had a player banded so far. We haven't seen anything get out of hand at all, despite the fact that this has been contentious from the jump. New York jumped out to a lead, and Philadelphia had to respond. And then Philadelphia really took it to the other team coming out of the third quarter.
Been a lot of goals scored here in the second half overall. 20-15 is your score. That's 35 total for the game. The halftime score was, I guess you had one more, right? No, first half was what? A total of 18 between the two teams, right? 10-8 was your score.
Yeah, and it looks like we had 12 points for the Spinners in the second half and 5 for the Rumble in the second half. It's been a high-scoring affair, despite the sloppy play. Ooh, that was perfect. It landed right at the back of the end zone.
Spinners need to go to length here. 2.5 left, now ticking on down. They're up by 5. Handing it off right.
Oh, and they're working some good switches here from New York.
Anderson was trying to help out defensively. That's Kofer. He had a goal way back when in the first half.
This is real tight. Stalled him out in the end zone.
Wow.
He's taking too much time here. He literally needs to be sprinting up to the line and getting this disc in the goal.
That's Aloro, one of the newcomers. And they retreated on back. Anderson looked a little off balance, so he elected not to make that quick throw and regained his balance there. Aloro, good job by the Spinners defensively, pushing them back just momentarily. Took valuable time off the clock before the Rumble puts another up on the board to cut the gap to 4 with 1:36 left.
And it was a good job creating space on the far side of the field here for Brenton Hart to come out and score this goal. He comes from the front of the stack here, and no one can catch up to him as the Rumble players stayed in the center of the field, and there were no help defenders out here to take away Hart's cut.
That's the first goal for Hart today. Another one of the newcomers. Well, actually, he was around last year. He's in his second year.
And he's shown some flashes of excellence here.
Yeah,
he makes some really big plays from time to time. He gets up very high in the air and is aggressive when there's a chance for a 50-50 disc or any sort of questionable play. I mean questionable in a good way as a defender, not sort of against the rules or anything.
Alan Brown with the pull down the field, rolls it to the sideline and out. The defense hustling on down.
And one of the advantages of that roller that goes out the side is that Philadelphia doesn't touch it right away, so the clock doesn't start. It gives an advantage for New York in terms of time. Katzenbach didn't like what he saw upfield there. Took a couple stall counts to think about it and then called the timeout.
1:27 left. We will take a break with this timeout upcoming. 20-16 your score. Philadelphia leading New York.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's luau night. Come and celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs, and one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
Villanova. All right, welcome right back. As we continue with our coverage of the MLU on MLU Live. Philadelphia Spinners working their way back into this game. They trailed by 2 at the half. And boy, it's up to you, Dusty, to pick our player of the game. So hopefully you got your thinking cap on. Let's forewarn you with under 90 seconds left here.
Well, the interesting thing is that early on it was clearly looking like Brownlee, but his team hasn't been up to snuff at this point, so he hasn't made enough of an impact.
I mean, Glazer has 5 goals today. If you look at a goal scorer, to be the top dog, so to speak.
And that's he was actually imposing his will on the New York defense there for a while. It looked like nobody could cover him, and it's not as though all of the assists have been focused on anybody for the Philadelphia team either. They're getting good completion rates from a lot of the team. It's really been a team contribution. So at this point, yes, I'd probably say Glazer because he's on the receiving end of all of that. But he should be thanking his teammates because what got them back in this game was the depth of their defensive side in the third quarter there. So they weren't running out the same players over and over again. They're rotating in new players, playing with new aggression and sort of different looks for the New York Rumble.
I say let's give it to Coach Billy Maroon.
Ooh.
How about that for the halftime
he'd
adjustments?
certainly be pleased for that.
Yeah, he'd love that. He's looking for that moment of glory, of course. Actually, he's looking for his team to put up W's. That's all he cares about.
Absolutely. That's what you're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. Very intense, too. Is Billy Maroon.
And it's the aggressive double team here, but they're giving enough space, so they're not trying to give away a foul.
Anthony Nunez, of course, the head coach of the Rumble. He's trying to kind of rebuild things, I guess, with New York.
Yeah,
It'll take some time.
And after he came in after the first season and the second season, he didn't really get to implement what he wanted. And this is his chance to put a stamp on this team. And while they've had obviously a couple subpar efforts here in the first 2 games, it is looking up for them. They're missing a lot of players today. They're playing shorthanded, and this is very far from the end of the season. They have 8 more games left.
They have some talent. They really do. They got guys that can get it done. They can throw it. They can catch it.
And you can see here, they're applying a lot of pressure to the Philadelphia team right now. The issue was that they didn't get on defense in that third quarter. They were on offense for almost the entire quarter, if not the entire quarter.
They're forcing the Spinners to use their allotment of timeouts is what they're doing, too. And we'll take another break. 48 seconds left. Spinners back to their sideline with the lead at 2016. All right, welcome back. Of course, live coverage of the MLU. Spinners all huddling around our coach of the game, Billy Maroon.
And this is a real issue for him. What they want to talk about right now is how they're going to deal with other teams that are going to trap them on the sideline. If you're going back as a coach and you're watching the videotape from this game, you realize that Philadelphia doesn't necessarily know how to get out of that trap. Once you force them into it, and you get 2 long-limbed defenders on the mark and prevent them from getting out. If you can force them to call 2 timeouts, maybe you can get a turn. This is the sort of thing that displays weakness to other teams in the future. What's going on right now is we have 50 seconds left, and all they're playing for is how the rest of the season goes. They're working on things on both sides.
Spinners feeling victory. I think they're quite confident they're not going to cough up a 4-goal advantage right now. With 48 seconds
10
left.
seconds per goal?
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, not at all.
I want to see how they come out of this set here, though, because what was happening to them before is they were getting too many players downfield who couldn't come back to the disc and help out the handlers when they weren't getting it. And they're setting up one handler here on the dump, but they weren't able to throw it to him right away. As you can see here, Net's setting up very far away here. He's almost 10 to 15 yards, closing down a little bit, but hopefully that'll spread out the New York defense.
Back to Hairnet they go. Late effort on the layout. Katzen back. Coming all the way to the back edge. Glazer with number 6. He was unscathed.
That pretty much seals it for Glazer. That's 6 goals. You don't see a lot of 6-goal performances in the league. He's also added an assist, no incompletions, and has been playing strong defense when he was asked.
Katzen back. Beautiful throw. Where was the defense for the Rumble?
Well, they're getting too aggressive on the open side of the or the strong side of the field there, and there were actually 2 Philadelphia players open all the way over here. Sometimes when you're getting pressured as a thrower and you have 2 marks right next to you, you see a line of defense right behind them, you fail to notice the far side of the field where the open players are actually hiding. Sometimes you need to wave your arms, send up a smoke flare of some kind, and then get people to draw advantage to you.
33 ticks left. I've enjoyed it, Dusty. First time together with you.
Yeah, it's been a blast out here. It started off as a nice day, and now it's not too brisk. Got a nice breeze here, and we had a heck of a game. New York jumped out to a lead, and then Philadelphia came storming back in a way that we haven't seen any teams do so far.
Philadelphia down by 4 in the first half, and they've come all the way back. And they're going to win this one. This is Hennessy. He's had a nice game. I believe he has scored 3 times for New York today. Could be wrong with that. Could be just 2. Going off memory.
And we can hear a lot of talk here from the Philadelphia sideline. They're in sort of a soft zone, but they don't want to concede any goals here. They want to show that they can close this game out.
Time ticking down. Whoops. A forgotten disc. And the Spinners, the exclamation point. No, Mazer will steal at the horn. And that is going to do it. The Philadelphia Spinners, they beat the New York Rumble by the score of 21-16. With a victory, the Spinners pick up a much-needed win. They improve to 2-1, and for the Rumble, they fall to 0-2. Take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up right here from Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, right after this.
Hey, Philly sports fans, come on out to Villanova Stadium on Saturday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m. to see what professional ultimate frisbee is all about as the New York Rumble take on your Philadelphia Spinners. It's luau night. Come celebrate the beginning of summer with giveaways, prizes, and autographs, and one lucky fan will get a chance to win $500 cash. Tickets start at just $16 now at spinnerstix.com.
You are just one of a kind, my dear. Such a good find, it's clear that you were made for me. We could be believably so carefree, for all the world to see that you were made for me.
All right, right back here, the folks celebrating across the way a Spinners win as they win 21-16 over the New York Rumble. And, of course, some outstanding highlights to take a look at as we close out the program here today, Dusty. And it started on a real positive note early on for New York as they scored the game's first 2 goals.
Endurance did turn out to be an issue for them. The tight roster just makes that happen. And their ability to stay in it once Philadelphia started making their run, that really closes it out.
As the sun began to set, the Spinners became dominant.
That was probably my favorite D right there, as he laid out in front and slapped the disc down before the offensive player could get it.
It was a nice run and catch by Gillis.
And a pretty throw here from Katzenbach that floats over the defender.
Sheridan making that catch. Kind of fought off of the defender, didn't he, to make that catch.
Yep. And you can see the confidence there as Bayer's walking off the field, knowing that he just threw that beautiful outside in.
That's Robinson with a good save there to keep a eventual score alive for Philadelphia Spinners. Esser's defense was terrific.
Oh, that's the one time that Esser didn't win the disc in a situation where we kind of expected him to.
That's Robinson. He was a quiet impact player today to O'Connor, who had a goal late for the Philadelphia Spinners in their 21-16 win. So, Dusty, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
It was a blast for me, too. I really enjoy being out here at these MLU games. A game like this has been a blast.
All right, great job by the production crew in the background. Philadelphia Spinners, they win it by the score of 21-16 over the New York Rumble. Philadelphia now 2-1, the Rumble at 0-2. For all involved with MLU Live, we say goodbye from Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania.